Captain's log, stardate 2017, October 14th. We review Orville. Guys, I really wanted to review this as a season opener. We missed it. And so we're going to do a mid-season review and a season review on the whole once the series is done. The first season of Orville. It's 13 episodes long. We're at about 6 right now, so this is mid-season for us. And I just really wanted to get my opinion out on the Orville. I'm sure we have differing opinions here, but I just want to tell you up front that I think Orville is a great show. It's a great throwback to the TNG days. If you long for the old Star Trek, the real Star Trek with diplomacy and interesting, commentaries and things not always resolving in neat little ways, then this is the show for you. And if you can handle some of the comedy, which in my opinion does fall on its face sometimes, and sometimes it's the type of comedy that I was like, I've always wanted to see that happen on board the Enterprise or on board, a ship in the sci-fi universe, and it happens here.
Lara, open a hailing channel. Attention, krill ship. This is the USS...
I haven't done it yet.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, you're on.
Now?
Yeah.
All right. Attention, krill ship. This is the USS Orville. Cease fire immediately.
So, like, for example, when they're in an intense situation and being attacked by a ship, the weapons officer, and he gets a hit and destroys the enemy ship, I'm gonna stop him like, whoa, yeah, I got that. You see that, motherfucker?
Ah, boom, bitch! That's what I'm talking about, right there on that boom!
Lieutenant!
Sorry?
Well done, Lieutenant.
Boom. And that's how I would react, because it was life and death right there. And they put that in this show. So there's lots of really cool things like that I've always wanted to see. And plus it tackles things in an interesting way. However, in case you didn't know this, the critics absolutely hate the Orville. I've actually not seen this type of disparity between critics and the audience in a long time. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has like a 13% or like a 19%. I'm not joking.
What is their top complaint?
I don't know. And the audience is at 93%.
Wow.
So that is a huge disparity between critics. And now I find it ironic. I'm starting to see more and more articles pop up in my Google newsfeed. The episode was great, and I like this show except for Seth MacFarlane. So it seems like the critical opinion is starting to change now, maybe. So I'm just like, all right, well, welcome to the party, guys, because I've actually liked the show from the very beginning, perhaps more than I should, because I gotta say, when I walked into it, I was giving it the benefit of the doubt. There are a lot of the criticism, Joe, you asked, what are they saying about it? Oh, it's confused. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be a parody of Star Trek, an homage to Star Trek, or comedy hour with Seth MacFarlane. And I'm like, what are you watching? It knows exactly what it is. It is sort of this comedy drama, okay? There is drama and there is comedy, and they mix it together. And yeah, those two things normally clash, but here I think it works. Except for some of the jokes. Like, this isn't a show where I'm like, I'm not laughing almost at any joke, except for there's a few good ones that you laugh out loud. But I'm smiling and I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to see that kind of thing.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining. So I'll let somebody else give their opinion on the show. How did you feel about it? Are you a big Star Trek fan?
I was a huge Star Trek fan.
Okay.
I've seen TNG countless times, just
Yeah.
over and over and over. I didn't know a whole lot about this show going into it. I didn't read anything about it. I didn't read any of the reviews. And then I also watched all episodes all at once. And so when I started that way, I didn't know whether it was trying to be a parody, whether it was trying to be a comedy standalone, like is this kind of like a Galaxy Quest, or is this more Star Trek that's a little bit humorous? And so I think the problem was like the way they presented it. But I actually, the more I watched it, the more I enjoyed it. So this is something that it was kind of slower. The comedy was a little bit more awkward in the beginning. There were there's a lot of things I had to get over as a TNG fan. Like I'm sitting there going like, why would the commanding officer and the first officer ever like constantly? Why are they off doing things together? Like, why are we setting up like all of like the B team to run the ship while they're gone? Why are they interfering with all these things? And that is my baggage that's brought over with like my love for the TNG. So, but the more I watch it, the more I realize like this is its own thing and it's enjoyable. It
is its own thing. I think it calls back enough to the Star Trek and the TNG, where it's obviously been inspired from. And I really, really like it. And I think it has this charm on top of it just because it exists. I don't think this would exist without the power of Seth MacFarlane. He has a lot of pull in Hollywood right now because he's run several successful shows, or shows that weren't successful but then got revived back on television. And without his sort of commitment and vision for it, it probably would have never got made.
No, but I think
this is the traditional Star Trek that a lot of people are complaining. Star Trek Discovery sucks. It's nothing but action and war. Well, in that time period, we're about to fight the Klingons, so yeah, there's action and war. But they want this. They want TNG. It's just remake TNG, okay? If you want remake TNG, the Orville is kind of the closest you're gonna get. And so for Star Trek fans, and I think that's why Star Trek fans, at least the ones that watch my show, like the Orville way more than they like Star Trek Discovery, even though Star Trek Discovery is getting good too. And we'll do a mid-season review of that as well. But Joe, how did you feel about the Orville?
Well, like Alex, I also binge watched this.
Okay.
But I do not know anything about TNG. So
I
didn't know what you kind of nitpicked.
The next generation.
Like I kind of had your little
hang-ups
works about that. But the first episode I saw didn't really draw me in, as opposed to Star Trek Discovery. I was like, okay, yeah, I can watch this. This one was like, oh, it's gonna be kind of cheesy. It's like his ex-wife stuck in a
yeah, you're like, really? I mean, this is gonna be the season-wide arc where
like, what?
she cheated on him.
Like, this is a pilot. This is supposed to draw me in. I didn't get that from that. But I was binge watching it, so I was watching more and more, and it started getting better. I really enjoyed it. They tackle like a lot of issues, which I'm pretty shocked about.
Yeah, and that's kind of what TNG would do, because since you hadn't seen it. But this one, they do tackle issues in an even more direct and confront way than maybe even TNG did back then, because you could talk about this a little bit, more, because he is being a little bit, he pokes things with his jokes, he pushes the limits a little bit. I mean, we can talk about the one episode where they're literally trying to, let's see, what is it? Bortus. Yeah. Bortus is he's a male alien, but this race does not give birth to females, right?
Almost ever. They do
it's
every
like
now.
Once
Very rare.
every 75 years.
Yeah, so he ends up having a female, and this episode is played seriously. It's played for, it's not played for laughs, even though there are jokes in it from time to time to sort of give it, alleviate it. But he wants a sex change, and so does his partner, and because they're all males, so obviously you get the two males, mating and having a baby. And so they have a little bit of the whole, that the number one, what Earthlings would consider a homophobic relationship is just normal now. And because human beings have gotten so progressive over time, they're like saying, well, why would you change the sex of the baby? That's unfair to the baby. You could be changing their life. Well, they say, well, that's human culture. Over here in this alien culture, that baby would literally be shunned and would be just pushed from society and ostracized, and her life would be a living hell. Yeah. And so both sides are right, and you're like, okay, well, this is interesting. How are they going to resolve it? But of course, because we are on a Federation ship, or I don't know what is there, not the Federation, the Union ship, and they're following human rules, then the whole episode is sided towards the fact that you shouldn't have this sex operation, and the Orville is going to do whatever it can because it's on board the Orville to protect that baby. And they go to trial, they make arguments on this alien planet, and it's really involved. And by the end, it ends in not really a happy way. Not a satisfying way, or the audience wouldn't be like, all right. Yeah, there's no Disney ending for this. And I was like, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, oh, well, that was kind of pointless. But then the more you think about it, you're like, okay, wow, this show is realistic. Yeah, and it's fucking serious.
They actually took it there.
And they actually did that. And I'm like, holy fuck. Okay, Seth MacFarlane really is doing what he wants to do, and Fox is giving him enough, room to do these things. So there are issues in here that I'm really surprised, and I think that it's interesting and it's a fascinating watch, and that's why I ended up liking the Orville. But let's talk a little bit about some other things on the Orville. Is the characters? Did you like? Do you hate or like the characters?
It depends on so in the beginning I was wondering, I wanted to know more about the B team of the Orville, and in the beginning we didn't get a whole lot of them, but as it went on you start to learn more about them, especially Bortus. There's a show that's almost all like that episode that's almost all Lara, and you learn more about them and you start to like them a lot. So in the beginning it's hard to get everyone together.
Lara a lot. Yeah. She's so hot. Plus she's strong, and so she's basically the what we call the enforcer of the group. But yet she has her own little storylines that you see in different episodes of, confidence, and I think coming into right, exactly, and her relationship with another crew member who is a little self-conscious because he's not as strong as her, and we even get a boxing match between her and Bortus, the other big, sort of who you would call like sort of the Klingon of the ship, Worf. But and so there's a lot of entertaining situations with the different characters. They do have, we're not talking about them, they do have the robot character who is essentially Data. I mean, this you always have to have your Data or your Spock. And I think that this one is less interesting than both Spock and Data. Yeah. So what is that particular guy's name? I think his name is Isaac, and yeah, so I don't know, and so there's some hits and misses on the crew. Well, I don't think there's any misses. I like everybody.
For me, there
Who is?
That little ooze thing.
Don't you do that, Joe. That's my favorite little jokey side character. Norm Macdonald.
Yes, I love Norm Macdonald.
I love Norm Macdonald. There's no way. Why? Why don't you like him?
What's the point? Like
he makes jokes. He's a 100% joke character.
They're not really good.
And they are.
No, and
they're funny.
The way he interacts, Seth trips over him a little bit. And that's it.
Hey, it's all right, man. No. It's cool. Fuck you, Joe. I love that little booger character.
Do you like him?
Yes, he does.
You do?
Booger character.
I'm very neutral on the character.
Oh, yeah, that's the one
I
can do without.
But he's not even B team, Joe. He is literally a joke. Okay? Whatever. You need somebody. I like him because in Star Trek you never really saw like different fucking aliens that don't just wear a fucking, uniform like that and walk around and they look exactly like humans but they're blue or they're brown or they're red or something. No. This is an actual alien. He blobs around, and people forget that he's on the ground, and they're shit, sorry. So I don't want to hear it, Joe. Right, I just convinced you.
Changed my mind.
I just convinced you.
The next episode is a story about him and how he came into.
Yeah. No, I wish he would get his own episode because I will agree that they repeated his jokes a little too much. That he likes the Doctor.
Yeah.
Right. They've done that like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, okay, I get it. So I'm with you on that.
Like a lot of masturbating jokes. Yeah. It's lonely.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying, Joe. But that ties into the humor for me. That I don't really watch this show for the humor, and honestly, I think it would be superior without it. Maybe. Or get even better comedy writers so when you do the humor, it works. Because I think that's probably the weakest part of the show, at least for me. But I really enjoy a lot of the characters. Some are, stereotypical. But some are sort of, subvert your normal stereotypes of who's on the bridge and stuff. Like this pilot doesn't really have. He just seems like a good old friend. He doesn't really... fit into all that. Yeah, so I like the characters, but the ones, And Seth MacFarlane's character, a lot of people hate on Seth MacFarlane. I think he does a great performance. He's a good actor, in my opinion. Not only is he a good writer, a good producer, but he's a good actor. But again, a lot of his humor is kind of he kind of makes fun of himself, and he's unsure of himself. But yet, when it comes right down to it, you can count on him to get serious and know what he's doing and come up with a plan. And he feels like an everyman to me. And you can easily put yourself in his role. And I think that's his greatest strength. He's not a Picard. He's not a Kirk. He's not a Janeway. He's not Cisco, and he's probably the one.
His names.
Okay, these are Star Trek names of legendary captains. They're all fucking good. They have their own personality quirks. And yeah, but so yeah, overall, I enjoyed the characters and I like them, and I think it does. But one thing that really blows me away with the series is the quality. The production level, like the costumes are great. It's clean, it looks nice, it looks futuristic. The uniforms, the makeup especially on the aliens.
The krill?
Yeah, the krill are great. So great makeup effects, great world, great universe. Some really good CGI in my opinion for TV. Obviously, this is not your movie CGI. And it's never going to look that good, but for television and how many special effects shots are in here, this is really impressive, guys. So hats off to their special effects company, because they're doing a great fucking job to really sell this.
I agree with you.
The battles are amazing. The ship is real quick, so you almost get it can't move around like the Enterprise. You know, the Enterprise Galaxy class fucking ship here, it's not moving, you know, like we see the Orville move. The only thing I don't like about the Orville is I don't like the design of the Union ships. That's just a personal preference. You know, the little fucking, it looks like a fucking toilet or something, yeah. And the little crown kind of engines. And we've seen most recently in the latest episode where they pose as Krill, their main bad guys, sort of the Klingons of this universe, but they're space vampire kind of things. And then religious, you know, again, kind of like the Klingons. But they show a battle cruiser of the Union, and it's pretty much the same design, only bigger. And I'm like, oh, damn it, I was hoping we'd get a better ship. That's the only thing. What do you think about the production design?
Oh, man, I fucking love the costumes and everything. It's pretty spot on with what I've seen with Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah,
Yeah, would you say maybe?
Yeah, no, well, I think that Star Trek Discovery for me is definitely better in terms of graphics and production quality and all this. But I think that this one was done on purpose. You know, the sort of clean look, because it is trying to homage back to TNG, where it's very clean and it's very futuristic and very simplistic in certain ways. But it does. You do, Joe.
Speaking of.
You really do. You really do. What about you?
I really like it. I think it looks great. I mean, for what it is, there are people that are pissed off because the makeup in a certain episode wasn't as good, and that just
no. Those people are completely fucking wrong.
Like there's this one episode. What was it? It's like they collect all these different species, and you see.
Oh yeah, the zoo episode.
Yeah.
All those costumes look pretty good to me.
Yeah.
The makeup was good.
Those special effects shots are impressive, and so that's why I'm like, wow. I keep thinking that this will be a cheesy little fucking B show with no money put behind it, but it looks like there's money put behind it, and it looks like Fox is taking it serious, and I'm happy for that. I really think that you guys should watch it. So I guess let's talk about some of the better episodes and the worst episodes, and then we can give the mid-season a sort of final verdict. So I think all of us kind of agree that the first episode was weak.
Yeah.
And I think what do you think was the reason for that?
I think it's that they didn't set the expectation. Like most of the people watching it, myself included, didn't know what the hell they were gonna watch. They didn't know. You see Seth MacFarlane, you're like, oh, this is gonna be funny.
Yeah, it's really gonna be super. It's gonna be Family Guy, live action Family Guy.
Yeah, nothing but dick jokes. It's gonna be great. And then it's more serious, and it was. It was good. But some of the jokes fell flat. Like the humor wasn't on. It was weak. It was the weakest of them. It wasn't bad. I felt it was the weakest.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
And I didn't like the whole, wife cheated on you storyline, and now your ex-wife is your first officer, and so you're constantly bickering, that kind of thing. Yeah. That's not my type of comedy. I know people like that, older people or a segment of the mass audience like that kind of bickering, because that's in a lot of sitcoms and shit. You know what I mean? And so you got that sitcom-ish thing in there, and I was like, it's not funny to me every time he brings that shit up, But it did get better. In fact, the zoo episode I think that was one of your favorites.
That was one of my favorites, honestly, because you see all the different types of species, and it was coming to of a Lara.
Yeah, Lara.
You see her kind of break through her shell.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. And you get some little backstory and whatnot.
And they keep putting our characters in interesting situations. That's another really good, strong thing about these first 6 episodes. We've been on massive 2,000-year-old bio ships that are hurling towards the sun, and they got to find a way to stop it. That episode was particularly good for me. They go undercover in the krill ship, the bad guys of this series, with holograms and have to try to figure out their culture, and they play it for laughs. Obviously, there is you can nitpick the hell out of that, because the very first time they walk on the ship, they notice that they're not krill because of the way they're talking. They're like, hey, my name's shit, we don't even know the names of fucking krill. My name's Chris, and this is Devin. So that was actually a funny joke. But then as you watch it, the way they're interacting, they're using human phrases and human, idiosyncrasies, and stuff in our culture. The krill would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you acting this way? But they didn't really do that until later on, just so that the plot can work. So there's a sort of parody suspension of disbelief that you roll with the punches. And when you do that, you're really enjoying the episode. And but yeah, so I do think that the season started off weak, and it's getting better and better.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, what was you were saying about the viewers?
The ratings. I think it got 8 million viewers on its pilot, and then 6 million and now it's coming down to 3. And I think the quality of the episodes is going the other direction, where it started off kind of weak, and it's getting better and better and better.
And better and better. You guys need to watch it now, because it's getting better and better. And I think that, when the viewers fall like that, that's natural. A lot, when you having all these advertisements for the first episode is always going to be pretty much double of what you think you're going to do. And then it going to 6, that's fine. And I think it's settling at 3 is fine. I hope it gets back up to 4 as we go along here, because you probably want to do about half of your opening episode where all the marketing went into. But I hope that Fox is happy enough with those numbers, because I really enjoy the Orville, and I want to see more of it. I like this universe, and I want to see a lot more in it. And I don't want it to be this one-off thing. I think it's good enough, because remember in TNG, can't ask you, but in TNG, the first fucking season
is not very good.
Of The Next Generation is not good.
It's compared to the rest.
Picard acts like a fucking dick.
Yeah.
And it's real overly oppressive and serious. I don't know.
Yeah, they changed a lot.
There's definitely a different tone to it. And even season 2 is a little rocky. When season 3 kicks in, that's when it really comes into its own. And by season 5, you're like, oh man, this is in full swing. And I think there was 7 seasons of TNG, right?
Yeah.
I think so. But, and so I hope that we get to see additional seasons so far of, but I'm getting ahead of myself. That sounds like a season review. But mid-season, I'm encouraged, and I want you guys to go out and see it. Just from seeing these 6 episodes, if you're a fan of sci-fi, if you're a fan of Star Trek, and if you're a fan of unique kind of bold shows that you're surprised they even exist, these quirky kind of things, this is a show that's worth watching. And you know what? You don't have to, I cut my cable off. I don't even have TV anymore. I just do everything on the internet now.
That's why I've been watching it.
Yeah, you can actually go on Fox.com and watch them all. I was surprised by that. I guess they realized that a lot of people are cutting their cable. Yeah. So you can watch it on Fox's website. Of course, they throw ads on it, but it's just like watching it like it was on TV. So definitely check it out. Let's go ahead and give a final verdict for the first half of the season. Now remember, this for these guys is probably going to contain those episodes that were a little rocky, and then it gets better. So whereas the critics on Rotten Tomatoes has it like at 13, 19%, below 20%.
No.
The fans have it at above 90%, 90, 93. Where do you end up, Alex?
Started at a 5.
Average.
Episode 1 was just like, this is just
Average.
a whatever TV show, and I don't watch whatever TV. I don't watch a lot of TV anyways, but so it's like I pick the good things. It's like, all right, The Wire's on. I'm gonna watch Game of Thrones, and as it went on, especially at the 3rd episode, then I was like, okay, this is good, and then it starts creeping up to, and I think it probably fits out at a 7, leading really close to an 8. So for me, it's a 7. But there's some things I'm worried about.
That's what I was gonna give it.
But I'm worried because one thing that you can get really tired of, that I get tired of with certain TV shows, is if every single episode has an important piece of social commentary. You get tired of it.
Yeah, you don't want to go too much into that.
And episode 3 is pretty heavy into it. Episode 4 is heavy into it. 5 not as much.
Not
6
as much.
is 6 is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going over like the religion aspect of things. So if we continue to be, and Seth MacFarlane's an outspoken guy.
But so you're actually asking for filler episodes?
Not filler episodes, but some, like, if this is even TNG, they didn't deal with same-sex relationships in every single episode. They didn't deal with, cultural relativism. We need to make sure, their religion says they chop up the babies.
Sometimes it would be about discovering something and how cool it is.
Yeah.
That's what this show needs. It needs a few episodes of that.
It's not filler, it's just something different.
Yeah.
And so I hope that we don't get it real heavy-handed with the social commentary. And if they space it out a little bit, this will be an 8 for me. It's a 7 now, and I'm hoping it goes up.
Mid-season review, 7 from Alex. What do you think?
I 100% agree with Alex.
Okay, 7.
Yeah, I was gonna give it a high 7. Hopefully it continues this.
Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna go one up on these guys because I think I enjoy it a little bit more. I came in kind of expecting what it was. This is for people who are confused on this. I don't know what it wants to be. It knows exactly what it's supposed to be. Okay. It's not TNG and it's not Galaxy Quest. It's in the middle. It's in that area between Galaxy Quest and TNG right here. That's what it is. And unfortunately, not all the jokes hit. Every single joke that comes at you, you're probably not gonna laugh out loud. You're just gonna be like,
Norm Macdonald.
yeah. No, I love that one.
I love Norm Macdonald.
I love Norm Macdonald.
so
I love that
Come
character. But there's one joke of Isaac, the robot guy, not understanding human practical jokes, and so that one was fun when he does his own practical joke on the pilot. And there's I don't want to spoil it anymore. So it's great for me. 8 out of 10. It's definitely one that you need to support if you fall into any of those 3 categories. And right now, I would say that I'm actually enjoying it more than Star Trek Discovery, I think, at this point. In mid-season, of course, Star Trek Discovery hasn't reached mid-season yet. I'm enjoying it more, but it's definitely in a different genre, different thing. It's hard to compare them to. Whereas Discovery is taking itself a lot more serious, and they're dealing with subjects that really you haven't really seen in the Star Trek universe. A little bit more about war, potentially evil captain kind of stuff. Over here, it's lighter, but they're doing the political or they're doing the commentary episodes, which leave you thinking. So great so far. Great special effects, endearing characters. Easy to look at, and some of the jokes hit some of the time. Other ones can be a little bit better. So definitely check it out if you have some time. And yeah, that's it for this episode. We will wrap it up when the season wraps up and give you an overall verdict on the entire thing. Okay, guys? Anything else?
No.
No? All right. So we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys. Do you think there's a story? Oh, okay, so if you're still with us, this is a spoiler section. I'm just throwing this in here in case I want to. Are you guys picking up that there might be a little side storyline with a Lara maybe having a crush on the captain? Or was that something that I misinterpreted?
That too, 'cause, like, well, he seems like what he knows what he wants, and he likes me.
Exactly.
Doing stuff for him.
I couldn't tell if it was her respect for him or whether she's developing feelings for him.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay, yeah,
it'd be a fun thing to play with in the season.
I think so. Obviously, where do you think that the overall arc is going to go by the end of the season? Do you think that the captain, obviously the main conflict of the season was one that we didn't really care about, their relationship, husband and wife.
I don't care.
I don't give a shit. Do you want them to end up together? Do you think that that's going to... You don't want them to, but do you think that's going to be the arc of this season, that they're going to get back together?
I'll stop watching if they do.
Yeah, me too. I don't want these two to get back together. I think it's, if you want to do jokes at their expense, it works better when they're not together.
She cheated. They worked together at the zoo. It didn't work out again.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No, but so Lara will have a crush on him, and it'll start to develop, and then he'll get drunk, and he'll sleep with his ex-wife, and then she'll see, and then it'll be drama, and they'll stop watching.
Did you see season 7?
Or the relationship between Lara and Commander Kelly will strengthen, but then Lara reveals and they start dating, and Kelly feels, the third wheel, and then she gets
you
mad
do
at
whatever
him,
you want.
something like that. There was a guest appearance by Charlize Theron, and she's supposed to be like this super hot captain that he kind of falls for a little bit. And she manipulates him, and we already had Kelly in there getting a little jealous and stuff. So they've kind of already gone along that. And then they erase that timeline. That didn't happen. So Charlize Theron is gone. Though there is a different universe, and she could potentially come back. Because that universe likes to grab collectibles from this universe. So they left a small door open if they want to do something in the future there. But I'm actually, are you guys curious to where this krill thing was going? Do you think now, at the end of the last episode, we have a krill and a bunch of krill children on a Union ship? Do you think that maybe we'll get a krill crew member before the end of the season? Or no?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
And
why not?
No, why not? It'd be sort of like the Klingon on board the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And do you think one of my theories is correct? One of those children that he innocently, the children was asking him a bunch of questions, the Quill children, and Seth was like, oh, maybe if I talk to them and be nice to them, I can change their opinion. These are just children. They don't know any better. So he's, basically answering all the questions. And child asks, where's Earth? Do you guys think that might play a factor in there? So that child later on tells, the krill where Earth is, and that leads to a big fucking conflict, and it's Seth's fault, Ed's fault that the krill know where Earth is because of that kid. So I think that's a thread that we might see. I hope we see it, but maybe they're just saying, no, that kid, he was just asking him about, the stars. But no, he kind of showed him, you see that star? That's where Earth is over there. Yeah, you didn't consider that?
Could be.
Anything else? So it seems like generally the krill ships are more powerful than the Union ships, but the Union ships are definitely more maneuverable, and especially with this pilot who's really good. They're constantly destroying krill ships and killing a bunch of people. I think they kill a lot more people than TNG has killed. They don't give a shit about it.
They're wildly different. Like, they have no problem with killing. They have no problem with screwing up whatever culture that they find and playing with anything. And that was a big thing for me to get over, because they're like, oh,
do they even have the Prime Directive?
No, not at all.
I don't think so.
Hey, we found the ship with a whole bunch of people.
What is this? Let's just go in.
Yeah,
let's stomp around.
All you people are idiots. You're actually in space. There's no, there is none of your God, and you're going to go to hell or die. It's like, what the?
Yeah. And then I love all the sort of in-jokes about the races and the sci-fi stuff, like when they're flying over the Bortus's planet, that race just conducts military tests anywhere, and so it's like our future post-apocalyptic world, like Blade Runner, where just flames are going off everywhere and explosions and stuff. So it's interesting. So yeah, any other sort of spoilerish things or series predictions? I really wonder how they're going to wrap it up and sort of that season cliffhanger of what's going to make us watch again. Oh, shit! I got to see season 2. Please let us have a season 2. Because he's going to make it juicy so that he can get another season out of it. Yeah. Probably the krill showing up on Earth. I think I'm right with that kid, knowing where Earth's at, and now the krill know where the Earth is. That's what I think. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And that's it. And we will see you on the next AngryJoe Show. Bye, guys.